when you're thinking about starting a company and you're going to go out and pitch yourself to a venture firm like us, you're basically saying something very simple. You're throwing out a pitch deck and you're saying, I got everything. I got it all figured out. All I'm missing is you and your money. And that's fair. We get that, right? We try to be as value add as possible, but at the end of the day, we realize that we're investing in a team, their ability to build an even bigger team around them and get it done. And when you're thinking about building yourself for an acquisition, think about what you say when you walk in to the acquirer's office. You're not telling them the same thing. Instead, what you're saying is, we are everything except what you bring to the table. And so, us plus you is something even bigger than anything we'd ever be able to do by ourselves, right? So if you look at Cisco, they have one of the craziest sales forces in the world, right? You look at Google, they have all the data in the world. You look at Microsoft, they have an amazing developer network, as well as Apple and Google and everyone else, depending on where your developer ecosystem needs to exist. So I think that it's an interesting, you have to sort of wear that hat. I wouldn't go out and build a company for acquisition day one, unless you are very thoughtful about it, and I would think long and hard about going down that path, because you are going to be coming up against quite a few challenges and people questioning, hey, I'm not really in this. I mean, let me, this is a little bit sort of counterproductive to what we do as a business, but I'm going to lay it out. Not all awesome companies should be venture-backed. If you walk down the aisles of Target and Best Buy and Walmart and you look at the most successful products out there, 90+% of them never took a single venture capital dollar, right? The venture capital industry, unfortunately, is success is paying for all the failures that existed. And the stats, everyone has seen all the stats. You guys know that venture is a very hard business. But when we look at it, what we try to ask people is, you can build a great product and you can get out there and sell that product and make a great business, right? Doing 10 million a year in sales with a 30% take home, well, I'd take that. I'd go live on a beach somewhere and like work remotely and enjoy. That's phenomenal. Most people can't build a business like that, but if you can, that is fantastic. And there's a great product business to be had there. Now, for venture, that's not what everyone's after, because you want to be able to generate the revenue of the big win. So now bringing it all back to CES. CES has changed so dramatically over the last, I don't know, I've been going about 8 years, maybe 9 now. And Eureka Park is a more recent addition, and to be honest, I remember when Eureka Park was in like the bar mitzvah hall down in the bottom of the Venetian, and it was like low ceilings and 80 companies, and now it's a full conference. It's like you could literally go to CES and not leave Eureka Park. Eureka Park now has, it's beneath the Sands Convention Center, so they have the Sands Convention Center and Eureka Park, and it's amazing. However, when you look around CES, one of the hardest things to watch are people taking product and trying to sell it as a platform or to sell it as a connected ecosystem when it's really forced. Did everyone see the short throw Sony, massive wall projector? Did anyone see that? It's an amazing piece of technology. Short throw, so you literally just have like a piece of furniture this far from your wall, and it throws up a monster 4K image. Awesome. Ken and I went in and we were like, we want to see it work. And they like locked the door behind us and they're like, you're going to sit in and listen to our demo. And like, he tells this crazy story about like, we're all sitting in this beautiful living room, and then the screen goes on, and we're like, whoa, that's awesome. And then he's like, now check out the platform for selling magazines. And he starts clicking through magazines that Sony Publishing is trying to sell through this projector. Now, you guys all realize that is absolutely ridiculous, right? Like, that is legitimately ridiculous. We actually we snuck out. But think about this. Sony has been in the business of selling physical products at a margin for years and has done a phenomenal job of that. Then PlayStation came along, and it was this weird sort of like side business where they were licensing, but it was like a well-understood console business. Everything else that was released by Sony at CES was something you would hold in your hand, you would look at a spec sheet and you would say, there's more megapixels in this camera, or the screen is bigger, or it has a touch screen. And now, that's not enough. Right now, we are asking people to purchase physical pieces of technology and buy into something so much deeper than just the specs and the design and the physical object. You're actually asking people to trust you, sometimes with your information. You might be saying, okay, well, you could put up these cameras, and it's not just like a camera. Now I am storing all my videos on your servers. I'm going to use your app to review those. I'm going to trust that your object detection works well enough that you know it's my dog or an intruder. And that's a big buy. That's a big ask. And the question I kind of walked away, one of the many questions, because wow, we walked away from CES with so many questions, which is why I love going. It really sort of gets you thinking about, like, where are we all going with this? But is that demo still viable in a CES convention setup? And I don't know the answer to it. I think that people have been able to demonstrate it, but like, if you were just to look at spec, you could look at someone like Ring. Does everyone here know what Ring? Great. Connected doorbell with a camera. Started out as Doorbot, was a disaster, 1-star reviews, and basically like just disappeared, and the founders turned it into Ring, and it's amazing. Phenomenal success, great app, good battery life, great DVR functionality, and gets great reviews. Now, at CES, you would have just seen 30 Wi-Fi connected camera doorbells. All of them have the exact same specs. And if you looked at the reviews on Amazon, you would see that most of them are garbage, just absolute garbage. And the reason they're garbage is because that full end-to-end doesn't work. So, we focus our investing on companies that are not just building that product, but really are, it's triple black diamond, right? You have to solve your hardware. You have to solve your mobile applications. You have to solve your back end. You have to figure out supply chain, manufacturing, logistics, distribution. You also still have to run a company in sales, and there's so many pieces literally like every discipline that exists in Silicon Valley is somehow going to get hired at your company at some point. And that makes it really challenging, but it's also extremely exciting. Because if you can get somebody to buy in to not just your product, but your full platform, ecosystem, whatever buzzword you want to use, you have a customer that's deeply engaged and invested with you. So we're also seeing this on the sort of crazy end of like car. This is sort of like why I'm such a believer in the M&A side, is I saw what the car makers are doing. Toyota showed vaporware. That car doesn't exist yet, but it had an awesome, I don't know, does anyone see this like all glass car called Yui, right? So like there's a voice inside and there's really well done video, but it's like it was just a fake car sitting on a platform. Like it was kind of like the drone last year that carried people. Like, did everyone see this?
Maybe like topographical, like seats or something?
It was amazing. It was like a people flying drone. They had a cartoon behind it, and then when you actually like looked at the drone, you're like, where are the batteries? Where's the energy coming from to fly this thing? So in any event, not that Toyota is like vaporware, but to think about it, these are people who are really scared and excited, and what we believe is that the greatest talent for the next generation of physical product development is not going to come internal from these teams, because there is too much, the barrier to entry is too low to not allow entrepreneurs to have first crack at it. So what I would say is, if you're going to build something outlandish, build something crazy, think about something that's really hard to build, because I think that, any chip wrapped in plastic, you should not be trying to sell that unless you are an absolute marketing, branding mastermind. If you can do that, God bless you. We know nothing about it, and like we are deep tech people who just focus on like really hardcore innovative technology. And by the way, I don't know if I have time. You need to just like tap me when it's just tap me out when it's time to go. 7 minutes. 7 minutes. All right. So where do I go from here? I think that, by the way, did anyone see BlackBerry's booth? BlackBerry. Anyone? You saw BlackBerry, huh? Smart car. Smart car. BlackBerry's making autonomous vehicles now. It's awesome. With keyboards. With keyboards. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. QWERTY for life. Actually, it was funny. Kane and I had this conversation, and the irony of this is that BlackBerry acquired a company called QNX out of Waterloo. They were the most innovative automotive software company probably in the country, well, in North America, because it was a Waterloo-based company. And they tried to make the playbook. I don't know why they took an automotive software company and told them to make a tablet. Story for another time. But the playbook was a disaster because BlackBerry killed it, essentially, by not letting it have an email client because they didn't want to lose It's crazy. But QNX is now revived, and BlackBerry is a car company. Just an FYI, if anyone sees a BlackBerry car driving down the street, now you know. So I had a little bit of a different look at lens when I walked through Eureka Park and saw some of the more like, you know, the smart hairbrush or the smart shower head. So I'm going to ignore sort of the implementation that was taken on, and instead, I actually think if you think about the problem you're solving, and you have an honest approach to it, and you basically say, I'm not just building this because I happen to have this problem, but instead I think about it, like for example, the shower head. Who here warms up their shower before they get in it in the morning? Okay, we all have a problem, right? We are wasting water. We're letting the shower run. It might be warm before you put your hand in to find out that it's warm. And at that point, you're wasting water. You've also wasted time because you spent it might take a minute, it might take 2 minutes, whatever it might be. Now, the solution this team happened to have done is way over-engineered, way expensive, and totally insane. But if somebody can come up with a magical solution, let's say a shower head that has a solenoid or a flow restrictor built into it that can basically turn on and off flow, so you turn on your water at the temperature you want, and then I don't care if it's via Bluetooth, I don't care if it's via button, I don't care what it's done with, but basically you just turn the water on and off, wait for the temperature to hit the desired temperature, and then turn off the shower head, and do that 10 minutes before the person wakes up or the moment they wake up. That means that when you go into your shower and press whatever button must exist, you are now getting correctly temperatured water. That might be a $12 bomb. It might be a $30 bomb. And you could sell that for 99 bucks, right? Everyone's doing 3X or 4X. Please do not sell I had a conversation earlier with somebody about negative gross margin. I was getting like my heart started going like really fast. I was like, no, we will not make it up in volume, please. No. But there is a world where, you know, products, as long as you're really thinking about a problem, and by the way, that's a perfect example of a company that might just be a product, and like they can build a great lifestyle if you figure out how to get into Bed Bath & Beyond, how to get into Home Depot, how to get into Lowe's. Now, is that a venture backable business? Probably not, because you're going to sell someone that individual product, and you know, I can imagine the pitch being, oh, and then we're going to automatically sell you shampoo and conditioner, and it'll be a subscription based on the number of times you shower. And I think that the average is 1 per day, so like you're not going to get real insightful data from that connected device. But if enough people here were willing to, if it was the same price as the other shower head, you might look at it and say, great, that solves a problem for me. So, not to pick that one company, but we saw a lot of companies at Eureka Park where they're onto something, and it's a matter of just, you know, we have this beauty of like low-cost iteration right now, and a lot of people, we meet a lot of young entrepreneurs or seasoned entrepreneurs who get really excited about something, are working on it, and then what you see is what you get. Like, this is how I talk normally. I'm probably a little bit too excitable and too, like, just unfiltered and say what's on my mind. And sometimes it's like, have you thought about pivoting? Like, you're awesome. We should think about something else. Like, you should use that tech on something else, and it would be amazing. And, like, that would be so cool. And, like, some people are like, whoa, no, this is my baby. Like, if you want to build, like, we have low-cost prototyping. Try 1,000,001 things. Like, don't, like, be passionate about what you're working on, but also don't find it to be purely sacred, and just go after a lot of things and try the hard stuff. Really try some really hard stuff, and also realize there is a large community around you. Plenty of people who are willing to help, who are willing to sit down with you and look at your schematics or help you with DFM. If you're not starting with DFM, start with DFM. Like, it is so painful to go to China without a manufacturable product, and like you're like you've 3D printed something and now you tell them to make it 100,000 times and they're gonna not be happy about it. But what it comes down to here is this community has grown tremendously. For anybody who's new to this is not how it used to be. These numbers, how many people were working in hardware a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago? You guys with your hands up, you're in the vast minority here, right? And it's awesome, because now you can turn around to people who are new and share with them the experiences. You know some things have changed, but you know other things haven't. And that's what's going on here. These numbers are growing, and this is not like, nobody has the monopoly on all the data, on all the knowledge, on everything. Like, there are people who can professionally help you, and then there are people who just want a rising tide to raise all ships. So we're in the camp of wanting to help everybody and anybody. So we've seen, I actually have seen companies in the crowd who, A, we've invested in, but also B, we haven't invested in, and we still are super supportive. And we want to see them grow and scale, because really, we are the redheaded stepchild of all Silicon Valley startups. Like, we think we're growing a lot. Like, there is a Node.js 4.22 meetup just for that one version of Node.js. That's like 7 times the size of this, and they're like, and they're overflowing, right? We're still small. So I think, when you're mingling later on, it's not just about telling other people what you're working on, but asking other people if you need help. Like, we're all honest. Nobody here is a perfect. We're not building crazy, amazing hardware because we know it's really hard. So turn around to people and don't just mingle and like tell everyone what you're working on, but also tell everyone what you're having a hard time with and see if people can help. And with that, I guess I didn't talk about CES all that much, but thank you guys, and I guess the panel will be more pointed.